Greetings and welcome to the Southside Help Center show. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. This is a live call-in show. If you have any questions about the show, please give us a call. Our number here, 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. If you have any questions about the show that we're going to present to you today, please give us a call. This is our second week, and we are excited about the Southside Help Center show. This is a show where we have an opportunity to highlight programs at the Southside Help Center. We've been providing a number of different community services and wraparound services for a number of years, since about 1987. This gives us an opportunity to talk about those programs and how they can benefit our community. And the last week we talked about upcoming shows. Today's show is going to be, we're going to highlight our Safety Counts program. We'll talk about what Safety Counts is. And our next week's show, we'll deal with some of our youth programs, which will be our violence program, where we go into the school and we talk about this and different alternative programming. My co-host this week would have been Miss Arlette Brooks. She is our behavior specialist for Safety Counts, but she also works on another program, and she had a client. So Arlette, we do want to give a shout out to Arlette. She would have been our host. We're going to have to try to get her on at another day or a later date. So Arlette, you are dearly missed. We're going to see if we can fly without you. Again, Arlette is our behavior specialist for the Safety Counts program. Southside Help Center have been doing Safety Counts for about 5 years, approximately 6 years now, and we've just come up for some new funding to deal with Safety Counts again. Safety Counts is a unique CDC-funded program who we have found great success with Safety Counts, and we're excited about being able to do Safety Count again. Now, we're going to go into what Safety Counts is and talk a little bit about what its design is. Safety Counts is a harm reduction program, and it is used to increase HIV awareness as well as substance abuse prevention among people who are actively using. Safety Counts deal with harm reduction. That means it's a program that deals with people who are actively using. Safety Count is a 5-part program. It deals with what we consider to be core elements. We're going to talk about those core elements and how we implement Safety Counts. If you have any questions, please give us a call here at the station. Its primary goals is to increase condom usage among people who are substance users, be that either crack cocaine users, be that injection drug users, alcoholism, across the board. It's for people who are actively using. Safety Counts is a program that was designed that this is the thing about people who use, who are addicted, who are in what we consider to be the horrors of addiction, or inflicted by the disease of addiction, because it is a disease. And the thing about it is people do things under the influence of alcohol and other drugs that they would not normally do. So we want to talk about what we can do to reduce that risk. Again, what we want to do is make sure that people stay safe until they make a decision to do something different. And that's what Safety Counts does. It's a harm reduction program designed for people who are actively using, to use condoms more, to reduce the risk of crack cocaine use, reduce the risk of intravenous drug use, and so forth. Safety Counts is a 5-part program. We're going to start with the core elements of Safety Counts. The first core element of Safety Counts, and please give us a call, because Safety Counts, if you think that there's someone that will benefit from this program, give us a call so that we can make sure that we get them involved in Safety Counts. The first core element is a group. It's a group setting where it's actually 2 groups. People come into the groups, and what happens in the enrollment sessions, we identify different behaviors or different risks that may be putting someone at a greater risk for HIV. We look at what we can do to bring that down. So the first core element of Safety Counts is group. You got group 1, group 2. In those groups, you talk about what we can do to reduce that risk. The next core element of Safety Counts is an individual session. In an individual session, it's a little bit more in-depth, and it's a little bit more tailored and detailed to an individual, so we could talk about what an individual's risks are and what we can do to bring that down. The next core element to Safety Counts is going to be group. We have 2 social groups. Social groups is simply designed for just what they say. When we come together as a group, we socialize, we provide food, we provide a group education seminar where it may not only last 20 or 30 minutes, but we also invite family to come out. So we have support groups and support systems in place. That's the third element of Safety Counts. The next one is follow-ups. That means after you've went through the other process, meaning that you went through your 2 groups, you went through your individual, you've also attended a social event, we then do follow-ups. Follow-ups are designed where we come out into the streets, where we can come and find you and find out if you're keeping on task. I'm going to break that down. I just want to make sure that we cover the core elements. The next core element, or the fifth core element to safety counts, is making sure that people get HIV and hepatitis testing. We provide both of those. If we cannot provide it, we will definitely refer an individual for HIV testing as well as hepatitis. That's the fifth core element. It is a mandatory element as well. So and we're going to go through the first group. The first group just simply is to bring people in and talk about what do you think you're doing that's putting you at risk for HIV, or what you're doing that's put you at a greater risk for HIV when you're talking about substance abuse. Again, when we start talking about substance abuse, we don't exclude any mind or mood altering chemicals, and that's what substance abuse, or that's what addiction is, whenever you're dealing with mind and mood altering chemicals. So we don't exclude any of them. So the thing about when you use different drugs or different chemicals, you do not do the same things. And that's why we talk about with Safety Count and implementing this program, we want people to begin to change their behavior. The first thing we don't want to do is we don't want to judge. We don't want to judge individuals. We don't want to run people off because of particular behavior. We want you to come in, talk about what your problems are, what we can do to help, talk about what your plan is, and then we want to be able to implement that plan. But we want to get a realistic plan. We deal with short-term and long-term goals. We also implement what is called stages of change, the stages of change model. And we'll talk a little bit more about stages of change a little bit towards the end. But I want to make sure that people understand what Safety Counts is and what that program does. Again, this is the Southside Help Center Show. If you have any questions about Safety Counts and what we're talking about today, give us a call here. Our number here, 312-738-1060, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. But in that first group session, again, we're not looking to judge anybody who's using any type of substance. We want you to come to those designated areas. Again, when you give us a call, if you're interested in this program, we'll make sure that you get the address, the date, the time, and the place so that you can actually come. And we don't judge. Like I said, we let you come in, we talk about what it is that's putting you at risk and what you can do to reduce that risk of HIV or increase the condom usage and so forth. That's what Safety Counts does. It's a harm reduction program. We want to bring down those risks until you make a decision to do something different. Same thing with the group session, the second group session, and these are weekly group sessions. Safety Counts take from 2 to 4 months. It's stretched out over 2 to 4 months where you're dealing with the group, individual, social groups, and then follow-ups. So it's stretched out over 2 to 4 months. So within the first couple of months, it's all about identifying what your risk is, meaning what it is putting you at risk for HIV and other STDs and what we can do to reduce that risk. And that's what takes place in the first two groups. When we get to this individual session, what an individual session does for one is once we identify certain risks through the first group, we identify certain risks through the second group. Then we get what we call goal cards. We do what we call short-term goals, because most of the time, long-term goals for people who are addicted by, who are afflicted by the disease of addiction, everybody want to get clean. But we know that it's not that simple. It's some steps that you have to go through. If that's the steps may be you want to get into treatment. Well, we're going to identify that if that's ultimately what you want to do. And that ain't everybody's, when they come in, that's not what everybody wants to do. That's just most people want to get clean, but some people just don't want to get high as much. So what we do is we identify risk, what you can do to bring those numbers down. Be that either it's like, say, if you for instance, if you're injecting drugs, and say for instance you're injecting 5 times a day, we want to get that down to 3 times a day, because again, we're talking about harm reduction. We're talking about what's going to reduce your risk of becoming infected with HIV, hepatitis, or any other STDs. So when we start talking about individuals, we're going to identify individual risks depending on what it is an individual does. If they smoke crack, how much crack are you smoking? Would you like to stop smoking crack? If not, you want to reduce the risk or the number or the amount of crack you. And again, this is not a judgmental program, because people be like, what are you talking about? People often want to judge. Safety Counts is about harm reduction. Safety Counts is about making sure that people stay safe until they decide to do something different. Totally. That's what this program is about. So you can come to Safety Counts freely, and we will not judge you, but we will help you in the process of getting yourself to whatever those short-term and ultimately those long-term goals. Individual sessions deal with just one individual. We can actually talk about what it is that that individual is having this biggest issue with. Now remember, we also deal with sub-circumstances, meaning although, and of course with individuals who's afflicted by the disease of addiction, other things come with that, like homelessness, like not having enough money for food, not like having medical attention, not having ID, not having relationships with family. Well, safety counts look to build on all of those things, or identify those as risk, or identify those as sub-circumstances, and see what we can do to fix them. That's what safety counts is. Again, if you have any questions about safety counts, this is a live call-in show. Give us a call here at the station. Our number here is 312-738-1060. So in the individual sessions, for instance, like I said earlier, say for instance you want to get into treatment. So now we want to look at a short-term goal. Short-term goal would be, let's set up and make a phone call to the treatment facility. Let's find out what their process is. Their process may be you have to come in on this date with an ID, so forth and so on. For instance, short-term goals may be you may have to come in, make that phone call. After you make that phone call, you now have to come in with your ID. Well, I don't have any ID. So a short-term goal would then be for us to set up a date, time, and a place where you can actually go and get yourself an ID. That's step 2. Those are short-term goals. The third short-term goal may be to actually go to treatment and find out what their procedures and process is. That's for an individual who's trying to get off of drugs right away. So we're looking at process, we're looking at steps, and that's what safety counts do. We use stages of change model. Stages of change just simply meaning identify what point you are in at this particular point in your life and what you want to do to make necessary changes. For instance, you may be a substance user who's homeless. So in those individual sessions, we will identify those problems where you may be homeless or don't have any food. And we start identifying food pantries. We start identifying housing and shelter. Again, because the one thing we realize with substance use, or when you're afflicted by the disease of addiction, if we don't deal with some of these sub problems, the last thing on your mind is stop using. So we want to make sure that people are being dealt with in a complete a holistic approach, and that's what safety counts does. It identifies problems. We want to reduce your risk of becoming in contact with HIV, hepatitis, and other STDs, and this is the process. We talked about like individuals who are injecting drugs. They may want to get on a methadone program. Well, how do you get on a methadone program? Well, that's what we talk about, what you can do, the process, how do you start it, how do you go to the next step, and to the next step, and to the next step. That's what safety counts is. When we talk about core elements, those are the core elements. We're on element 3, which is an individual session. 1 is group session, 2 is a group session, 3 is an individual session where we can actually talk about problems and concerns. 4th, we do what is called a social group. A social group with safety counts is just that. When I say that, we do come together, we play dominoes, we play bid whist, we talk a lot of trash, we eat really, really good, we do raffles. Again, and we do a short informational session. Those come with all of our socials as well. And we invite family to come out to the socials. We're planning on doing a barbecue or 2 during our socials. So we invite family members to come out and see what their loved ones are doing and what they can do to help. And that's what harm reduction is. It's like, okay, we're not judging you. We understand that there's some issues and concerns. Let's look at those issues and concerns and see what we can do to get some help for you. So social events are just that. And we can't stop people from coming to social events. We really, really, really enjoy them, and we enjoy when family comes out to support those individuals who are at least trying to do something to reduce their risk of HIV. And we start talking about risk reduction. People have to understand, people who are impacted with HIV across the board are loved by someone. So we have to make sure that people understand it's all about love. It's all about support. And what we can do for individuals who are practicing particular behaviors, and what we can do to reduce their risk of contracting HIV. This is what the Southside Help Center has been doing for a number of years. The Safety Counts program has been in existence since 2004. And again, now we're going to be doing safety counts over the next 4 or 5 years. So we want individual, and the reason we are is because of success stories. We have truly had some great success stories. I'm going to use 2 examples. I'm going to use their names because you don't know them anyway. We have 2 individuals that we've been working with. I want to say Maurice and Ann. They are 2 individuals that we have been working with for a number of years who are outstanding examples of what safety counts can do for an individual, from when you come in to when you actually apply a program, when you're serious about a program, and the results you can get from that program. They become peer educators for us. We do, at some of the social events, we do what's called role model stories. And the role model stories just take individuals who started here, and they talk about what they did to get here and what they did to get here for other individuals who are looking to get to those points. So it gives you a hands-on, it gives you individuals who are going through the same things and what they've done to achieve the ultimate goal, whatever that goal may be. We don't make the goals for you, you set the goals for yourself. We just help you in the process to getting to them. That's what Safety Counts is. So Southside Help Center has been doing this for quite some time. If you're interested in Safety Counts, or you know someone who you would like to get or be a part of Safety Counts, give us a call. You can call us here today. Our number here, 312-738-1060, or you can call us at the office. That number, 773-445-5445. Real quick footnote, if you're an organization who have space and would like to be a part of that community process, you also can give us a call. Our number, 773-445-5445, or here at the station at 312-738-1060. If you want to be a part of that process and provide us with some type of space, we meet once a week depending on what area we're in. So we meet in different areas, different locations, and the one thing we do with Safety Counts is we do outreach. Outreach consists of where we actually take the services to the people. And again, Southside Help Center has been providing street outreach in the Roseland area for since 1987. We've been providing street and community outreach. We would like to believe that because of our outreach, because of our HIV prevention and education in the Roseland community, those numbers have pretty much, they kind of mellowed out. You know, before when we were here with HIV, and we bring them down and they come across, and that's a beautiful thing. And we really would like to believe it's because we've been doing effective street outreach in the Roseland community for many, many years. Again, Safety Counts is what we're talking about today. If you have any questions about Safety Counts, give us a call. Our number is 312-738-1060. The next core element to Safety Counts, we talked about level 1, which is group, 2, which is group, 3, which is individual, 4, which is our social groups, which is really dynamite. Now, the last core elements, or the fourth core elements, is follow-up. We do follow-up. We do follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Again, that goes back to the street outreach piece of it. We go after people have been in the program from 2 to 4 months and they've went through the course, because, again, it shouldn't take no more than 2 to 4 months in terms of the process, dealing with all 4 core elements. Group, dealing with the individual session, as well as dealing with the social events. And then we do follow-up. Follow-ups consist where we go in the streets where we may or may not have met individuals, or where we have over the couple of months learned where individuals may or may not be. Then we'll go out and find out, are you doing what you said you wanted to do? Not are you doing what we said you were going to do. Are you doing what you said you wanted to do? And if you're not, why? So we can look at and revisit. We give out gold cards. So a lot of our individuals keep those gold cards in their wallet. So every now and then they pull them up and they think about what they said they wanted to do, or what they're actually doing. And when they're not doing it, we can look at that gold card and talk about what you said you wanted to do 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and what happened. You know, what kind of stumbles and what kind of bumps in the road have you run into? And then we start doing problem solving. You know, our ultimate goal is to get you to where you want to be in that process, and also identify stages of change. Stages of change model, again, what that simply does is it looks at behavior. Stages of change model looks at behavior. It looks at what it is you're doing, what it is you would like to do, and gives you a process to achieve your ultimate goal. So we actually do follow-ups where we find those individuals who've been through the process, and we look at what they're doing. And a lot of times we come across them and they're doing great. They're doing what they said they were going to do. Some of them either be in treatment, they be done secured some type of housing. You know, they be done secured work. That's the other thing. People come in, they want to get some work, and they be done achieve those goals. So they be done got work. They also be done got housing. They also be into some sort of treatment program. And if they're not, we always look at those things that they're not doing, see what we can do to enhance and to identify and to get them on the road again. The fifth core element is testing and counseling. Because Safety Counts is an HIV prevention program, we do mandatory testing, making sure that everybody that comes through the program knows their HIV status. We talk about why we need to know your status. Know your status for a number of reasons. One, if you test negative, you need to look at the behavior that you're practicing practicing, that it may or may not be putting you at risk, and either continue that behavior or change it. If you test positive, a positive test means that you need to take a look at what you need to do to improve the quality of life. Meaning it may be getting to some type of counseling program, it may be getting in touch with a doctor so that you can get meds or whatever that may take for an individual, but it makes sure that you take a look at what you need to do to improve your quality of life. One of the things that we get all the time when we talk about HIV prevention and education, people always look at Magic Johnson and they always talk about Magic don't have HIV anymore, or they talk about his money. None of those things for Magic is what keeps Magic the picture of health. Magic Johnson was an athlete prior to becoming impacted with HIV, and he does all of those things. He keeps a relationship with his doctor, he still works out, he eats right, and he maintains a healthy quality of life. Most of the time, it's just doing what we should have been doing anyway. Eating right, getting enough rest, making sure that if we do need medication, we get what we need in order to keep our bodies healthy. That's what we should be doing anyway. So most of the times when you're talking about negative versus positive results, a positive results just simply means that you may need to change in order to improve the quality of life. If you have any questions about our Safety Counts program, give us a call here at the station. Excuse me, our number here, 312-738-1060. We're talking about safety counts at the Southside Help Center. And again, this is our new show. We've only been on for 2 weeks, but we will be coming on every Wednesday at 4:30. We'll be on every Wednesday at 4:30. If you have any questions, we'll be having shows that will be highlighting all of the programs. We're talking about our after-school program, our mental health program, our violent prevention program, our HIV program. We'll be talking about all of the programs at the Southside Help Center. I want to make sure we give a shout out to our executive director, Ms. Vanessa Smith, who's doing a wonderful job over at the Southside Help Center, and making sure that our programs are staying funded, making sure that our programs are staying viable. So we thank you, Ms. Vanessa Smith, our executive director. Gotta make sure we, like they say, pay the bills. So we do really, really appreciate Vanessa. I think we got a call. Caller, you're on the air. Yes.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm just tuning in. My name is Kianya Turan.
Hey, Kianya.
And I'm from Inglewood, Southside Chicago.
Okay.
And I just want to know, a little bit more about y'all programs. I'd like to be a guest on your show.
Okay.
I'm an executive producer doing it independent by myself.
Okay.
And I want to be, share this with the youth in the South Side of Chicago with you all.
Okay, now I tell you, because that's beautiful. I love when we get individuals who want to become involved. Now what you can do is you can give me a call back at the office. That number is 773-445-5445. So we can actually talk about what it is you would like to do and see if we can't get you scheduled to come on the show and talk about what it is you're doing in the community. Because again, without you guys, we're not going to be successful. So give me a call back at the agency, find out, so we can find out your availability, find out what it is you want to share, and we'll see what we can do. If we can't get you set up so you can come in and talk about it. Again, community, community, community. So I love when we get community members to call in and talk about things that they're doing to become a part of the solution as opposed to a part of the problem. So we do truly thank you, and give us a call. That number is 773-445-5445, and you can reach me at extension 17, and we'll see what we can do to get you in here and talk about the programs that you have. Southside Help Center, again, we're having a great time, even in our second week, where we're able to actually talk about what we're doing at the center. We have a number of different programs, and I always talk about our youth programs, because those, and when we talk about it being our future, we talk about HIV prevention and education, we need to make sure we check in with our youth and make sure that they're getting all the information that they need concerning HIV prevention and education. But I never stop there. I want to make sure that we cover all of our people. HIV does not discriminate. It does not matter how old you are. It does not matter how young you are. It does not matter your color. It does not matter your size, shape, none of that stuff. HIV does not discriminate. So we want to make sure that we're touching bases with everybody, and that's again why Safety Counts became an existence. Safety Counts is a science-based program where they've done research to talk about what we can do to reduce the spread of HIV among individuals who are actually substance users, be that crack cocaine, be that heroin and other substances. So we really want to make sure that people get everything that they need. When Southside Help Center, we're talking about holistic approach. We're talking about a one-stop shop. We got a number of different services for everybody. We're dealing with youth. We're dealing with middle age. We're dealing with old age. It does not matter who you are, but what you do to push you at risk. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in this week. Next week, we'll be talking about some of our youth programs. We'll have a couple of individuals. Mr. Arthur Dunn and Ms. Tunda Simmons will be in to check in with you guys. So please tune in to our next show. We'd like to thank everyone. Until we see you again, we bid you peace.